Hello.
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 And welcome to a What Culture Oscars podcast. I can't believe that actually worked. Well done, boys. My name's Adam Cleary. I'm joined by Simon Gallagher to my right,
Hi.
probably your left, and James Hunt
Hello.
on the other side. It was the Oscars last night. Did you idiots stay up and watch it?
Some of it.
Some of it, James?
Yeah, some of it. I got
But that's good because we're going to talk about all of it, which is
Yes.
even more exciting. Now, this Oscars was not one of the more exciting or anticipated ones in recent years. I think everything looked fairly middling, I guess. It wasn't really one of the most hyped ceremonies I've seen for a long time. But nonetheless, there's still lots to talk about. That's no reason for us not to get 30 minutes of content out of it. You wish. We'll just go through the awards. We'll talk about the winners, the losers, and all the little talking points around it. And I was quite surprised, James, to see that Best Supporting Actress opened, which, given that like the majority of the first awards are quite
Rubbish.
those. So do they just open with that just to get the blood flowing? Do they?
I think so. Yeah, it's like I think Supporting Actor opened a couple of years ago, so it's just kind of
It's a
let's
fluffer.
get like a good one in there, you know, getting to stick around because you open with hair and makeup, people are going to turn off, aren't they?
They'll just go for a cup of tea.
Aye.
Well, I mean, you should be sitting down with a cup of tea when the show starts. That's
Well.
just good practice. Anyway, the nominations for Best Supporting Actress came from films which obviously got a lot of nominations. There wasn't really anything in there that was out of left field. We had both Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz from The Favourite. We had Amy Adams from Vice, Regina King, who was the eventual winner from If Beale Street Could Talk, and Marina de Tavira, is that right? From Roma. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I think Rachel Weisz was maybe slightly more deserving.
She was my pick.
She was
Regina
my
King
pick
was
too.
the favourite
but
for a lot of people, though.
I expected Regina King to win.
Yeah.
But I thought Weisz maybe had the edge. But King's brilliant too. She's a really powerful performance.
I haven't seen If Beale Street Could Talk. Is it the kind of film that's based around its performances, or is it more of a... Because, I mean, it doesn't really come up too many other times over the course of this.
It doesn't. I think it was unfairly overlooked, really, because it's a feat of great direction, cinematography, the score's beautiful, the screenplay is great. I think there's a lot going on for it, but the performances do help elevate that.
Simon, you said you had loads of jokes for this. Anything so
Oh,
far?
I haven't got any about that one.
No? Okay, right, we'll move on. Best Makeup and Hair. Only 3 nominations for this one. Now, I think Vice has won this because of Christian Bale.
Yeah.
100%.
But it's not hair and makeup that he's done. The hair and the
No,
makeup...
he's done it to himself.
That's what I mean. Like the category isn't like best body transformation. I mean, I think Mary Queen of Scots had the best hair and makeup by a mile. It looked absolutely wild in the hair and makeup department. But yet, how has Christian Bale won this for just putting the beef on?
I think they use like prosthetics and stuff for some of them to make people look like
That classmate as
other
makeup,
people.
does it?
Like,
It isn't to
They
the
just
same...
cast Sam Rockwell, who looks like George Bush. There's no hair and makeup there. How is this? This is an outrage for me. This one.
It isn't anything like Darkest Hour, where Gary Oldman
Yeah, that was
looked
exactly.
nothing like Gary Oldman. I mean, he didn't look anything like Christian Bale, but it was just because he transformed himself, and he is a chameleon.
Whereas, it's not like Gary Oldman went to special jowl classes just to add to the Winston Churchill look. Christian Bale genuinely turned his body into that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's deserving of. I think they just need to rename that award slightly to best
Christian Bale.
best look or something, just something really broad. Best documentary. Anybody got any major thoughts on this? The winner was Free Solo.
is very, very good. It's one of the National Geographic documentaries they brought out a couple last year, and it's properly good.
Properly good. What's it about?
It's about a free climber, his attempt to climb a really big hill, basically.
Ooh.
And it's so
Hill?
tense. Well, it's a cliff.
Like a
I was
cliff,
going to say you walk up
like a cliff face. El Capitan in Yellowstone. National
I've heard
Park,
of
I
that
think.
one. I've heard of that.
Yeah, he climbs
It's,
at that.
it's honestly it's so good. Anything that does extreme sports and documentaries seems to be really good.
Dogtown and Z-Boys, shouts.
Yes, it's a very good film. And The Crash Reel, which is even better than that.
Any thoughts on any of the other nominations for that category? Because there weren't exactly widely released movies.
No, I think it's more about what was snubbed there. It's like, Won't You Be My Neighbour not getting a nomination.
Yeah, which was an odd one.
And They Will Never Grow Old or Shall Never Grow Old, whatever the Peter Jackson one was.
The one that was on the BBC?
Yeah.
The
That
difficulty with one
is, yeah.
It's like, it's a feat of like colorization and restoration of footage. But the documentary itself is not the most compelling thing in the whole
I don't know.
world.
I watched
I've
that
seen it twice now.
I watched that on a flight, and I was in bits by the time we landed.
I think it's an important film, and I think it's very emotive. But
Why do you think it's been overlooked then?
Probably because of the reasons why I
Just said out loud with your mouth, James.
Yeah, I guess it just didn't get much hype beyond maybe we saw it because in the UK it was maybe a bigger deal over here. But anyway,
If there was a technical award for that sort
Best
of thing,
colorization.
it would have won. But the technicals don't look at that much detail anymore.
Okay. Well, we'll move swiftly on best costume design. Now, James, there's a chance for you to talk about Mary Poppins Returns, your favourite film of all time. Sadly, it did not win. Again, Mary Queen of Scots overlooked The Ballad of Mr Scruggs, which, no matter how many times you keep telling me, I still haven't got around to seeing. I'm very sorry about that. The favourite, which I thought costume-wise was quite excellent, but the winner was Black Panther, even though the costume in that wasn't real.
But that's why it won, isn't it? Because all the other ones have like reference points. They're all historical. You can look at them. I mean, they're all great. The favourite in particular.
Black Panther has a lot of reference points.
Well, it has comics, but not like real life ones. Basically,
Interesting.
And I think the costumes are the best.
When I was going through all the winners this morning, the one that jumped out at me as perhaps being the most surprising was Black Panther beating the favourite Mary Poppins Returns, Mary Queen of Scots, and Ballad of Mr Scruggs for costumes, because
they had to give Black Panther something. Because it was such a big deal. They couldn't give it the popular film one that they were going to.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It did win other awards though, Black Panther.
Yeah, but it's production design, which is if you win costume design, you win production design most of the time. Or you should anyway.
I think it deserved costume design. I think the way she kind of took the superhero designs off the page and then blended those with these like traditional African looks. I think that was like it really stood out last year. There was nothing else like it for many years, really. It's very unique and it like really fit with the themes of the film too.
Again, Rachel Weisz for me, all ended.
Okay.
But that's
every answer.
She just wins everything. Yeah.
Is that not just start a bit of a precedent though? Because the costumes you can do a lot more with a CGI costume than you can with a real costume. There's sort of limitless possibilities.
But it's not just a CGI costume. Like that's Black Panther's costume. Not every costume in if you look at Wakanda, it's filled with all these different colours and textures.
The supporting characters have better costumes than Black Panther does. Like M'Baku looks brilliant, and he's basically not wearing that much. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But like Black Panther's mom, and all the tribe. That scene where they do the like fight ritual. All of the characters who are standing around the rocks, every single one of them has a different costume, and you don't even see them that much, and it's unreal. Some of the stuff
that elder guy who's got like the green suit and the lip disc thing.
Yes,
and that's
There's much more breadth in those costumes. This is not the one we should be talking about.
No,
I was going to say I'm just going to skip us on now to what might be the most fun part of this entire podcast. Best film editing.
Yes.
Bohemian Rhapsody,
which is an absolute disgrace.
A film that has become notable for the low quality of its editing is now the Oscar winner for Best Film Editing. Now, what didn't Vice, Black Klansman, The Favourite and Green Book do that Bohemian Rhapsody did?
I know I would.
Go on then.
It's the cockerel, isn't it?
If you love this so much.
I'll say it until I'm blue faced. If they came out and said, right, all those other films are great, but none of them had a transition shot where Cockerel says Galileo, and this one did. So therefore it wins.
I can't dispute that, James.
I think this and Vice, were the two front winners. And for me, that reason is best editing often, I think I was saying this to you this morning, isn't often best editing, it's most editing. And this has a lot of...
It does have a lot of editing.
A lot of editing, a lot of very flashy editing that people will notice and go, oh, well, that's got some editing. Let's tick that box.
It has that shot at the start of the Live Aid sequence where the camera swoops through the piano for no reason whatsoever, and it's that kind of thing. It's really showy. That's probably why it's won.
I've seen people have posted two small clips from the film on Twitter this morning just to kind of make a point about this. And I think those two clips equate to about just under 4 minutes of total footage of the film. And there must be, I didn't count, but I think it must be something like 8.5 billion cuts.
Yeah.
Only about 4 of which are necessary. But the sheer volume of them and the way it sort of jars you about the scenes, I don't really... So there's a bit with...
Aidan Gillen, where he meets Aidan Gillen.
It's completely disconnected. He's got the chair, then he hasn't got the chair, then he sits down and then he's sitting down again, and it's just... I mean, I know you said that they go for like the technical aspect of it, to like they're showing off how much editing they can do, but does it not come a point where it has to be good?
You'd think, but...
No, that's just the Academy, is it?
I think...
It is literally legwork in that scene. That's why they've done it. It's like they've looked at it and counted how many times the editor's pressed spacebar.
Yeah.
Gone. Well, he was.
I wonder if they've kind of given it to the editor as well, because generally when someone edits a film, they work with the director to do that. And the editor of Bohemian Rhapsody didn't really have that chance.
Yeah.
So maybe they've gone, oh, well, he did this by himself.
Is that because there was no director for Bohemian Rhapsody?
No, it might be a snide way of saying. It might be a snide way of saying Dexter Fletcher deserves more credit on this than Bryan Singer, because Dexter Fletcher was in the edit. And Bryan Singer wasn't.
Interesting.
And so they're like, Huh? There's a theory for you.
There you go. Very good. Moving swiftly on to Best Production Design, which, as you say, if you win Best Costume, you deserve Best Production Design. And thus,
It still did deserve it because the landscapes in Black Panther are unbelievable.
now the only thing that's been nominated in this category, which wasn't nominated for costume design, was First Man.
The moon's the moon.
The moon's the moon. Yeah, you don't really design the moon, do you?
No. But there's a lot of like NASA sets and stuff. But I think Roma should have won this one.
Why?
Because if you look at it, they basically went back and recreated Mexico City of 1970s to like painstaking detail. And they pack so much into every single set. Like the depth is incredible. So to get that realism, that authenticity built from scratch is, for me, I should be doing it.
Too subtle though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not showy, but
There's not nothing showy about it at all.
but it's incredible.
Production design always, something showy always wins.
Do you think it deserved it over Black Panther?
I think. No, I don't.
Okay. Well, there we go.
I think I think Roma looks brilliant, and I think what they've achieved in that respect is really good. But I think Wakanda is like forever.
We've got so many more bloody Oscars to do, you know. Promised us jokes as
I know,
well.
where are these
so
jokes?
far. Best
Wait till
cinematography.
you get to Glenn Close.
Best cinematography. Roma did win this one.
Yeah.
I actually thought that A Star Is Born would win this one.
Really?
Yes, I did.
Why?
I'm an idiot for a start, but I actually thought it would. Why? What did Roma do that none of these other films managed?
It looks really pretty.
Well, so does
No,
all of them.
I think it's obviously the black and white helps, but I think Cuarón, he has those long tracking shots that he uses so well. So I think that really helped seal the deal here.
It's the only one of those films that you watch and think the cinematographer has a big role in this film.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Oh, I think you could say that about
A
the
Star Is
favourite very
Born,
easily.
the shot choices are more a director's thing for me. I mean, I agree that the shots in that are good too.
A Star Is Born has two shots. He has like
Yeah.
the big close-ups and then the mid shot. That's it.
But it's
but
the choices.
they're of
when to
Bradley
do
Cooper
them,
and Lady
which is
Gaga.
directing.
Yeah, but
I thought The Favourite looked like stylistically probably the strongest film I've seen.
The Favourite's
That
great,
particular
yeah.
bit, the dance hall bit where the camera's sort of going in and out with them as they dance, I thought that was absolutely excellent.
yeah, I wouldn't have begrudged
against
the favourite to win
direction,
too
though,
much,
it's
but I think Roma had the best.
Well, good job it won then. I'm
Yes.
glad something did. Best sound editing, Bohemian Rhapsody. Did that win because it's got lots of Queen songs in it?
I think so.
Yeah, which is a cheat really because they didn't,
Yeah, they didn't sing, so
and they also didn't record that,
Very true. But they're in the film.
and they also didn't change anything about the
yeah,
original
but
recordings.
they cut loads of bits.
I think they've won because they match up Freddie Mercury's voice to Rami Malek's face,
yeah.
which is quite impressive.
Some good lip syncing.
I was going to say he's won for lip syncing
Yeah,
there.
Yes.
Would it have not just been hilarious if A Quiet Place had won?
yeah.
yeah.
Why didn't
Well, it's probably not obvious enough what it's doing with its sound. So its sound editing is like, it's a big part of what the film does because you're creating that silence. So it's really impressive. But if you're an Oscar voter who maybe hasn't put as much research in or something to these awards, because sound categories, people just generally take the big films for those. So A Quiet Place isn't as obvious in that regard.
Did I see that it was favourite very briefly going into this, A Quiet Place? Or did I have I made that up?
It was definitely up there. I think that First Man, Bohemian Rhapsody.
First
were the
Man
ones.
was the one that I thought.
I thought First Man.
Why?
Because I think it does more sound editing. To be honest, I just fundamentally don't think that Bohemian Rhapsody deserves it because there's no like sound creation. Like A Quiet Place, even Black Panther uses like sounds that are like manufactured for it, which to me is much better than taking original recordings and
Yeah.
sort of splicing them together. I just don't think.
So we're agreed then. Yeah, the sound in Bohemian Rhapsody, not very good. Travesty, it got an Oscar. Anyway, moving on. Best sound mixing, the winner, Bohemian Rhapsody.
I don't know the difference between those two.
You do, man.
Why? Yeah, I don't actually understand the difference between sound editing and sound mixing because A Star Is Born is in this category, but not in sound editing. When
So-
to be fair, Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star Is Born are very similar stories. They're about
Yeah.
musicians making music, and it forms part of the narrative. So how can you be nominated for one, not the other?
So sound editing is basically it's like each sound element. I think it used to be called sound element editing. So it's like every bit of sound that you hear, it's the creation of that, and then mixing is bringing them all together, changing the levels, so it dictates what you as a cinema goer hear. Why A Star Is Born is in one, not the other, and Bohemian Rhapsody's in two.
And one, two.
I don't know.
A Star Is Born should be in the other one.
Yeah, Totally, because
much more than
the singing in that's great.
Yeah.
First Man should have won both. It's
Yeah.
one of the best sounding films I've ever seen or heard.
When you say it's one of the best sounding films,
Yeah.
talk me through that.
It's the way they do the space stuff. It's just so terrifying, and the way they combine the sounds of the rockets and with the score. It's just
Where did
incredible.
you see it out of interest?
Just in a regular cinema. It wasn't IMAX, but I wish I'd seen it in IMAX.
I saw it in
Wakanda.
no View Extreme.
Mentions they opened up Wakanda to the world. They've now got like more chain places, so there is like a Cineworld in Wakanda.
Probably.
Just a thought.
They have got Starbucks, haven't they?
No, she
Yes.
wanted a Starbucks. Maybe a Starbucks.
Okay.
That's the line of
Right.
action.
She
Come on,
probably
guys, come on. The Marvel hype train's going to start back up in a couple of weeks. We need to be on it for this. Moving away from Bohemian Rhapsody, and indeed its baffling victories in the sound department. Best foreign language film went to Roma. And I think a few of us were expecting Roma to maybe pick up Best Picture, so not really surprised to see it
It's a gimme,
win this
isn't
one.
Yeah.
Now, not to make us look like Doyle's here, but has any of us seen any of the other 4 nominations?
I've seen Cold War.
Any good?
Yeah. It's very technically good. It looks beautiful, which is why it was in cinematography. It did leave me a little bit cold, funnily enough. Yeah, where are your jokes, Simon?
Yeah, where are yours?
I wrote that joke.
I've got loads of jokes for today.
Shoplifters is meant to be
It got
great
100%
as well.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
But I think when you're nominated for Best Picture, you're going to get...
Do we know what Shoplifters is about? And don't just say people...
I do. It's about a family who turn to crime because they're on the poverty line, basically, and they adopt a young girl, and it's about them trying to get by, but then the dad goes to prison. It's a little bit like Roma in that it's a small family focused drama, but it's in Japan as opposed to Mexico.
Capernaum? How are we saying that one? Capernaum?
You're the host, mate.
Yeah, you think so, wouldn't you? Never Look Away. Anyone see that one? No.
No.
But doesn't really matter. Roma was by far and away the most deserving in that category.
The fact that was in there and Best Picture suggested that it was never going to win Best Picture when you think about it. Because it wouldn't have won both of those.
Why?
Because that would be really weird.
If it's the best...
It's like Toy Story 3 was in Best Film, but not Best Animated Film that time.
That is odd, that.
What?
Is that true? Toy Story 3 wasn't nominated for Best Animated Film, but was nominated for Best
I'm
Film.
almost certain it wasn't. Into the Spider-Verse should have been in Best Film as well.
I actually agreed with that. Do I? I will wait till I get there. I've got them all in front of me. Best Supporting Actor. Now we're into the big ones.
Yes.
Best Supporting Actor. Now, be honest with me. Did anybody think Richard E. Grant was going to win?
I really, really hoped so.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's not what I asked, though. Everybody hoped so. Did you think he would?
Mahershala Ali was the favourite. In the last few days, there was rumblings, like when you get the secret Oscar ballots come out and stuff, and there was a lot of support for Richard E. Grant. Still not enough that was going to suggest he'd beat Ali, but there was like a slight chance.
In another year, could Sam Rockwell have won this simply because he is George Bush?
I think his is a bit obvious, his performance.
That's what I mean. But like, when I watched it, I thought that's the kind of Best Supporting Actor performance that wins purely because it's very memorable, not because it's necessarily very good. If you'd asked me to do a sweep, if we'd done a sweep, if we'd bothered our artists to do a sweep, I would have probably gone with him just because he's an outlying chance no one else would have picked. But we
Ali's isn't a Best Supporting Actor performance.
He's co-lead.
Absolute horse manure. He's a Best Actor.
But it's
not a
Oscar
sport
politics, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, which is ridiculous.
Well, let's get into it then.
So it's basically shared double billing, which is what it should have been,
Right.
but it isn't.
So why is he in Best Supporting Actor?
So he can win an Oscar.
Interesting.
But
It is.
I mean, if you look at the two performances in that film, Ali is more supporting than Viggo Mortensen in that it focuses more on Tony Lip.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a two-man show effectively.
Oh, it is. I'm
And
not
it's unfair that it does it.
where's the dividing line for you between like a performance and a supporting performance? Like, is it screen time? Is it the way the narrative goes with it? Like, what's the...
For me,
Where
it's
do you go?
narrative.
To me, it's both. I think
So for you, somebody could be a supporting actor even if they've got more screen time than the lead.
It's difficult, but maybe it is both, yeah.
it has to be both to me. I mean, I've got no
No, not unpacking that one.
I think like, you look at The Favourite. Effectively, that's three
Three
That's
best,
three
yeah.
performances.
Yeah.
But the
So-
narrative tells you that Olivia Colman's
Yeah.
the lead. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you get with that. But would you have given this to anybody else on that shortlist?
Sam Neill is really, really, really good, but he's in the film for precisely about 3.5 minutes.
Who's Sam Neill?
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, The Star is Born.
Sam
Yes.
Neill, who's in Jurassic Park.
Park.
I mean, Jurassic Park is a really good film. He should have won this.
Is Dr. Grant a support? Is he a lead performance or a supporting performance?
Richard
Jurassic
E. Grant.
Park.
Sorry?
No,
Oh, right.
he's a lead performance.
That's the lead
Okay.
performance.
Well, it
Yeah.
depends. If you watch them from the dinosaurs' perspective.
I was going to say,
And he's a spawn.
story about dinosaurs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
But anyway, Richard E. Grant, I thought should have won.
Should have won.
Yes.
Not just wanted to, should have won.
Yeah, I think he should have.
Why?
I just thought he did more. He had this very nuanced performance where he balanced the line between comedy and tragedy, which I thought was more affecting.
The little mask tattoos everybody I've ever known who's acted has gotten on the hip somewhere.
When you look at performances like this, you have to look at the rest of their career for a difference, for context.
Interesting.
So, if you watch, this is to me anyway, the Academy doesn't take this into account, obviously.
just subtext.
Yeah.
So if you look at Richard E. Grant's career,
I'm
about
gonna sit back.
about 80% of it is not very good. Let's be honest. He doesn't make great choices, and he's not always that great in things. He was in Spice World, and he was the best thing in Spice World, but it is an absolutely atrocious film. But then to watch this performance and think this is the same guy that was in Spice World.
Oh, this is
It's
his
like-
joke. This is his
No,
joke.
it's not,
Spice
it's
World
not,
wasn't
it's
very
not.
good. I got you
It's
now.
not a joke. That's just facts.
We're happy enough with him getting with Ali taking up the Oscar.
Yeah.
No, I'm not at all because
No?
it doesn't. It's not.
Because you think he should have got
Justified.
Best Actor.
I think he should have
Been
been
nominated
in that
for Best Actor.
nomination. Yeah.
Interesting. Actually, I'll tell you what I never tend to see, certainly in the male categories, people being more than multiple nominations for the same Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor thing, whereas Best Supporting Actress did have both Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz. Why is that? Oscar politics?
I think it depends on what
There's probably
films comes out.
Yeah, there's probably a case for more than just Rockwell and Vice. To be honest, if it was a larger category, maybe.
Didn't Three Billboards have 2 last year? Or was Slit to get 2? I can't remember if Harrelson got 1 or not. But
No, he didn't get it. No, I think it was
was close.
predicted he was going
Yeah.
to, yeah, but he didn't.
Well,
Anyway.
we shall move on to Best Animated Feature, which I think this was the most obvious one of the entire night, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Into the Spider-Verse. Ralph Breaks the Internet, Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, which I'm sure came out about 5 years ago now.
They're all great.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
they don't do anything like Into the
Oh, Into the
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse, I think is one of the best. It's easily the best animated film I think
James
I've ever
doesn't
seen.
like it as much as everybody else
I
does.
really,
That's okay.
I really like it. It's just
Yeah.
not quite in the
Best film of the
5-star
year.
greatest
Yeah.
film ever kind of
I
hyperbole.
thought coming out the cinema immediately, I thought it was the best animated film I've ever seen. I don't think that now.
Okay.
I certainly think it's in the top 2 or 3. But when I came out initially, I was like, that has done things in animated
Yeah.
films never done for me before. The way it
Which
brings
is why it should have won.
the way it brings the concept of comic book adaptations
Yeah.
to life on screen is excellent. The performances were all really good. The story's really good.
It's a
It's
shame
not
that-
a takeaway. I've got to say, it's not a takeaway from Incredibles 2, which I thought they did a really good job with. Ralph Breaks the Internet was fine, very good. Isle of Dogs, I thought was absolutely lovely.
it's lovely,
God,
wasn't
it
it?
got me in every
It's-
part of
it
my
is
heart.
a
That
proper shame that is nominated this year and has to go up against the big heavyweights of
Yeah.
like, Disney Pixar.
oh, comfortably
Stop
could have won
motion
another year.
animation is unbelievable. Like Leica should win every time they make a film, and so should Wes Anderson when he makes stop motion films because it's a craft that like what goes into it is unbelievable.
I have to admit though, I honestly did think Isle of Dogs came out about 3 or 4 years ago.
It came out very early in the year, didn't it?
It
Last
was
year?
like,
It must have been January or something.
I think it was like February, March, maybe.
It does not feel like a year ago I watched that film. It feels like
Yeah.
it feels like a different lifetime.
Dog
that.
years, isn't it?
Yes, there's his joke. Yes.
Yes!
Right, best live action short. You told me to bin the shorts, but I forgot to bin this one.
Cheers,
We
mate.
had Entertainment, 12, Margaret, Mother, and Skin 1.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
did.
Any thoughts on any of those?
Correct.
Me neither. Best visual
No,
effects.
but what you've done is you've cut the wrong short. The best animated short we could talk about because it's Bow by Pixar,
Which is
on, then.
lovely.
Which is
absolutely beautiful.
about the little dumpling, isn't it?
Yes, made me hungry.
Go on then.
Oh, it's really good, and it really deserved it. So there you go.
Oh, absolute tragedy I've cut that from the list then. What insight we missed out on. Best visual effects. Now, again, I got this one wrong. I thought they'd give it to Infinity War, just to give Infinity War something.
Yeah, I thought they'd give it to Infinity War too.
I thought Infinity War deserved it.
Yeah,
I agree.
thought, yeah. Solo, a Star Wars story, again, CGI. I thought, for all the problems with Solo, I thought it did look very good. I thought the space scenes in particular were very good. The way the The Kessel Run scene in particular, I thought was worthy of note. Ready Player One was effectively just Steven Spielberg masturbating into a washing machine for 3 hours in the life, which never getting back.
Really love that.
And Christopher Robin, visual effects are so understated in that. In fact, I would actually go so far as to say that Christopher Robin is the only film there where you forget the visual effects of visual effects, which is the whole measurement of visual effects.
Only if you accept that teddy bears are real, Adam.
Yes, but it makes you do that. It doesn't feel.
I thought I was going to break something.
No, it doesn't.
Horrible to you.
It doesn't feel like the teddy bear. Look, I watched Infinity War. I was like, oh, this is impressive. I didn't think Titan was real or that Thanos really looked like
But you
that.
thought Winnie the Pooh was real.
For a few seconds, yes.
Okay.
I was able to suspend my disbelief considerably further, which I think is the measurement, IMHO,
It is
of visual
a good
effects.
point, yeah.
First Man won, though.
Yeah.
They didn't go to the moon, so it's fair enough that they made
Yeah,
it like impressive.
I think
and they didn't fire any rockets.
A lot of First Man's effects are more subtle than, say, Infinity War, which is it's quite interesting to see they've gone for that. Marvel, the MCU anyway, has never won a visual effects Oscar.
Is that right?
I think it
never won
was.
an Oscar until today.
I think it was Spider-Man 2, the last superhero movie to win visual effects. So
Is that just the Academy just don't tend to like them?
I guess so. Yeah.
It's popcorn movies, isn't it? They just don't.
But even then, it's visual effects.
I've been
They
wanting to
normally
ask. I've been wanting to ask
give it
this.
to those films,
The
but-
most popular film thing
Yeah.
that they came up with last year. Why have they binned that off?
because it's an awful idea.
Yeah, but a lot of things we've discussed have been awful. We're going
That's
to get
true.
the best picture later on when we talk about awful ideas. Why is this awful idea being considered too awful?
It's because it suggests that a film can't be best and popular at the same time.
Yeah.
Is the issue with it? It's like here's a one for the idiots.
Mm-hmm.
All of the good film fans leave the room while we cater to the idiots, basically.
You could have overlapping nominations in that.
I think it would have been fine because it would have let something win that isn't ever going to win best film. But it's too much. It's too obvious that that's why they're doing it.
What would have won this year? Avengers.
I think Black Panther would have won.
Black Panther. Yeah.
They really like the Academy. Obviously, has been saying, in amongst all of this maelstrom of making the worst decisions ever in the run up to it, and then going, no, I didn't say that. It's fine. We're testing it. It was A/B. Like when Instagram were like,
Yeah, we're going to go left to right from now on.
Oh, somebody did that by accident. The Academy basically did that all the way up to the ceremony. I've completely forgotten what I was saying.
Good. Yep.
It was what was it?
Bad decisions.
It was about bad decisions.
Black
Popular
Panther.
film.
Popular film.
Yes, exactly. So they're trying to say, I'm back on course. They have been saying in that whole process as well that they're trying to do things better and be more progressive. And it's, like some of the nominations clearly state that. And for Black Panther to win would have been an ideal win for them. So they invented a category in order for that to happen, and then had to pull that back.
What did win last year?
What?
The popular film.
It didn't exist.
So it literally was only this year and never happened.
They were going to create this for Black Panther. The same way they expanded the Best Picture pool the year after the Dark Knight controversy.
Yeah, for
Because Dark Knight didn't get a nomination. Everyone kicked off. They're like, right, we'll have the 10. This year it was...
And everybody kicked off about that as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's too easy now.
They can't please anyone, basically.
No.
But
Well, I mean, that's just true in general, isn't
yes.
it? We're happy enough with First Man winning the visual effect, though, even though it wasn't what we would have gone for.
You've made a very powerful case for Christopher Robin.
It's understated. It's just...
It is.
I didn't think that bear wasn't real.
I mean, if you're going like that route, Paddington 2 should have been nominated and won literally every award going.
Yes.
But
I've never...
You're not wrong, to be fair.
No.
I've never
Paddington
seen-
2 was just brilliant.
At some point, Paddington will win an Oscar, like Leo DiCaprio did. In, like, Paddington 10. You'll get a career recognition. The point about Infinity War is, I've never seen anything like the decimation scene on anything. Like, I've never seen that effect ever.
I genuinely think the last hour of that is the best. It's the best hour of action cinema I've ever seen.
Certainly CGI heavy.
And I think it deserved some kind of recognition. Of course, we're all on the payroll for Marvel. I remember
course,
I was
yeah.
watching the Flat Earth thing
Kev
on
was on the
Netflix
phone
last
before.
night. And it reminded me, like, half of this, God, do you remember when all those DC fans should be like, oh yeah, but you got to remember what culture are literally on Marvel's payroll? Which, hey, big payday coming up in April then, aren't we?
Oh.
Yeah.
To say that's good.
And March.
And March.
yeah, next 2 months.
God, hey, Papa needs a new pair of shoes. That'll be excellent. Best original screenplay. Here we go. Right, The Favourite didn't win. Roma didn't win. Vice didn't win. First Reform didn't win. Green Book won.
It did.
How do we feel about that? First of all, I will just say, because obviously there's a lot of stuff in the sort of hanging in the air about Green Book. Certainly, Spike Lee said, he was not really too
Yeah.
wild on it. What do you think of it as a film, first and foremost, putting all the politics aside?
I think it's an okay film. I think it's very easy to watch. It's got a very easy charm to it, and that's about it. It's everything with it is very surface level.
It exists in the exact same bubble as The Blind Side, like I said before the podcast. To me, in that it's watchable. I would even say it's good more than okay. But it doesn't deserve... I don't even think it deserves to be nominated in any of the things that it's been nominated in, to be honest. I think the screenplay is a bit of a feat because of who wrote it, which is not to cast any aspersions on him, but it's the son of Tony Lip, basically, who himself was in Goodfellas.
You can't make the joke, I don't understand it.
As a low-level hood, basically. And he apparently doesn't deserve a lot of the crap that he's getting about it, because he actually spoke to both of them, and they told the story of their road trip. They were the only two there, and the family are now saying that that's not the true story, but they weren't there. And he's like, well, I know the truth.
You both said that it's fine. It's it's a reason. It's a good film at best. It's got, I'm having a quick scan there, 5, 6, 7 nominations. What about it has struck a chord with the Academy?
I think it's
Because they're all old white men.
Yeah, I don't want to get too controversial about it, but it's very Oscar baity. It's kind of the film that's you'll hear it's feel good, and it's designed to make the Academy voters feel good about racism, basically.
It gives them what do they sort of see it as if we give...
It's reparations. It's creative reparations, basically.
Interesting.
But the favourite of First Reformed should have won screenplay, for me.
Because?
I just think they've got the most invention there. I think especially the favourite, you see how weird it is and how bizarre and interactions between the characters, that all drips off the page.
I've got to say, I really liked... I've been telling a lot of people to go see The Favourite. I wouldn't... It's one of those films where if you ask me how good it is, I would be profuse in my praise. If you ask me how much I enjoyed it, I'd be like, whoa, it was all right, I guess. I recognised it was a much better film than how into it I was. There were parts where I was just like, this is going on a bit, but all the time I was like, this is genuinely nothing I've ever seen at the same time.
It's a film where you notice the screenplay because of some of the dialogue in it and some of the ideas, like with duck racing.
The duck racing is excellent. The duck racing's excellent.
And Green Book's a lot more obvious, and Green Book leaves out a lot of stuff, from the broader story, the cultural moment and things like that, which is not, it's not to be applauded to me. Whereas weirdness, I'll always think is a better thing in a screenplay.
We'll come back to this in due course, but we're moving to best adapted screenplay now, which again I thought would be. I've got all of these predictions wrong. I think I thought it would be If Beale Street Could Talk.
Okay,
but it was Black Klansman. Spike Lee got an Oscar for that. How do we feel?
Spike Lee deserves an Oscar. He probably should have won it.
His first one, isn't it?
Yeah. Do the Right Thing was his best adapted screenplay Oscar. He should have won that. I mean, it's not an unworthy winner. I think A Star Is Born is a pretty good adaptation.
Technically, what is A Star Is Born adapting? Is it the film before it, the film before that, or the original?
Yeah.
I guess the original.
Do you think that has to factor in if you're doing a film that's effectively been done 2 or 3 times before? Obviously, you do have that as source material as much as you've got the original source material. Does that factor in to an adaptation for you, or is it just
It does for me, because Bradley Cooper wasn't just adapting something; he was unadapting it as well. So he had to make it so that it was different to every other version that exists and put his own spin on it.
That's a very good point.
Which he does.
Should it have won for that?
It's a maybe. It's a maybe.
Can need a bit more on that.
I'm not always Spike Lee's biggest fan. His films are great, but he's a bit much sometimes.
A bit much. I've got to admit, knowing you as I do, the few people I think you get on worse with than someone like Spike Lee.
Yeah.
He'd exhaust you within about 10 minutes. You, on the other hand, I don't know actually. Did you like Black Klansman?
I thought it was great. Yeah. I thought that or Beale Street, I think, were the two most deserving in that category. I think the way Spike Lee kind of takes that story and injects his humour into it without trading on how powerful and shocking it is is why he deserved screenplay.
We shall move on to Best Original Score. And again, do you know what I have for this? I had Mary Poppins for this.
Really?
I did, yes, but Black Panther has won that as well. The music doesn't... the score doesn't really stand out for me when I think back on that film.
If you compare it to other MCU films, it's got much more personality.
Yeah.
Because of, like, it adopts African identity much more than
Oh, don't
any
get me
of the other ones do.
I get why this is won. I think it's probably brought in... It's probably done the most with the music it's got, but
I think Isle of Dogs is a better score. I think Isle of Dogs is a lovely score. It's the only one of those, the ones that are nominated, that I would sit and listen to on Spotify, because I do that with scores sometimes.
I agree with you, but we know James does listen to the Mary Poppins soundtrack.
I do. Soundtrack-wise, I love Mary Poppins Returns.
I don't think the score on Mary Poppins
I don't think the score is exceptional. I think Isle of Dogs is lovely because Alexander Desplat is
amazing.
Always lovely.
He's never ever missed something
for me, it was If Bealsford Could Talk. That was the one where I felt the music really coalesced with what we were seeing on screen and really like really elevated the scenes around it. Really spoke to like the sense of love that we were seeing, the sense of beauty, but also knew when to like blend in with the ugliness of the film. I thought it was incredible. Really, really great.
Let's have the most fun we're going to have before we do the really hard ones.
You're going to
right?
make us sing Shallow, aren't you?
I am going to make you both sing Shallow, yes. Best original song. Now, don't worry. I have no doubt whatsoever that your rendition of it will not flag up any copyright infringement. So, off yous go.
No.
It's for them. Come on.
Do we have to get really
Come on.
close? Like,
No, come on.
Gaga and...
No!
That's not how it goes. James, start them off.
Tell me something, girl.
No. What do you mean, girl? I'm not, because I'll have to sing the chorus and it's very high.
So? Do it for them.
No.
You know, his problem is he's tired of living in this modern world.
Hey. I'm just going to start by saying anybody who watched that performance of them two.
Oh, there.
No, and thinks that they are. You're being worked, mate.
Is this Joey's thing?
It is. I literally said this to Josh Brown around the corner before. I was like, look at the chemistry there.
Yeah.
They've done nothing. But they're actors. If they were doing the dirty behind everybody's back, surely they would act to have no chemistry.
But Joey's theory didn't work out. And that's what cost Chandler his relationship.
No, Joey's theory was actually fine. Just Chandler freaked out.
Joey's a made-up character.
But they're all made-up characters.
Bradley Cooper is not a made-up character.
Bradley Cooper's a
Admittedly,
made-up character.
Lady Gaga is.
Is it the best original song out of the nominations?
It was always going to win.
Do you want to sing The Place Where Lost Things Go?
I don't want to sing it, but I did.
But you will.
I'm not going to.
Go on.
No. Oh, you sang a bit of Shallow.
The one from the Ballad of Mr Scruggs is a pretty good song. I
gonna sing
remember
it?
thinking that was the most. No, because I can't remember it. I just remember it being. I think that film isn't as good as a lot of people think it is, or say it is. That was the most fun I had in it, was that song.
That song.
Yeah.
Do you think the song stands out because of the rest of the film as opposed to
so.
being a good song?
I think so, yeah.
I think this is one of those where that Shallow was the only song that I've heard out away from film. There's always every year, there's always a song that comes out of a film.
It's the most Oscars of all of those songs.
Yeah.
I think All the Stars is a very, very good song. I just don't think it's very Academy. And I heard that much more than I heard Shallow. Because it was on the radio all the time and I listened to it. But I don't think they take into account how many times I listen to things on Spotify, which
They probably
honestly is
don't.
a travesty.
Actually, that's a point. Best original song. I mean, I presume they're at the stage now where they don't factor in box office figures when factoring in Best Picture. But does that have maybe anything to do?
It used to. If you released something, it wasn't allowed to be included. Because Peter Gabriel's song from Wall-E was released as a song and didn't count.
Wasn't allowed to be included.
Yeah, up until
They're
not even that
mad.
long ago.
They're mad.
Anything that was released as a chart song, that makes me.
We're happy
old,
enough.
doesn't it?
We're happy enough with Shallow.
Yeah.
'Cause there's 4 categories left that we're going to have to spend quite a bit of time on. So Egan moves on. Rami Malek, Best Actor for Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, all I'll say about this before letting you two just get into it is that Christian Bale, I don't think, put that much effort into transforming his body for Vice, assuming he wouldn't get an Oscar for it. And I would imagine that when he saw Bohemian Rhapsody, he was probably relatively confident that it was going to be his year.
Rami Malek changed his body quite a lot as well. He lost a lot of weight.
He wore some fake teeth.
And he wore some teeth and could still talk, which is impressive.
So between him, Christian Bale, Viggo Mortensen, Bradley Cooper, and Willem Dafoe, where does Rami Malek rank out of those 5 for his performance? Is it number 1? Is this a right decision, basically?
third for me.
Third behind?
Willem Dafoe and Bradley Cooper.
Why?
Well, Dafoe mostly because I think we've got 4 nominees there who are playing real people, and Dafoe's was the only one where I felt he really got into the psyche of that person. He really captured like how tortured Van Gogh was, so that's why I thought he should win.
Simon?
For me, it's all about context again. So everybody else on that list has done something of note in terms of Oscars, and is generally good. Viggo Mortensen's a really good actor. Willem Dafoe, you watch him, you never ever think he's not very good in this, even if he's in absolutely terrible films. In Aquaman, it's still like, oh, there's Willem Dafoe. This film is much better now because he's in it. I like that film. Please don't hit me in the comments. Christian Bale, if he's in a film, he's in the Oscar running.
Yep.
But Rami Malek is not all that good in anything else. I mean, he's all right in Mr. Robot.
He's great in Mr. Robot.
He's great. Is
But
it the
in
Pacific or Band of Brothers he's in?
The Pacific.
He's excellent in that.
Yeah, I think he's all right in it. I really love those programs, and I don't think he's all that good in it. But I mean, in terms of his film work, this is like, it's so profoundly transformative. Not just because it's him being Freddie Mercury and being quite convincing. It's him not being other Rami Malek characters.
I think that's a little unfair though, because he hasn't done that many films where he's got this kind of attention.
But I just think it's much more different than all of the other ones are.
Is that why he's won?
I think it probably is, yeah.
James?
Not totally agree with what Simon said. I think he's won because people because it was a transformative role in a popular film.
Yeah. The Oscars love a real life person and a performance where it's completely different. So like Eddie Redmayne, for instance, everybody now pounces on that performance as being one of those. Oh well, he shouldn't have won an Oscar because it's too obvious. But it's the Oscars. They're gonna do what the Oscars are gonna do.
Except in the next category we're going to
Yes,
talk about.
yes. Can we move on to Olivia Colman, please? Olivia Colman won Best Actress,
Yes.
and somehow this made it not feel like a Monday when I came in today.
Yeah.
Sophie
Somehow,
from Peep Show.
I don't know if you can see this, right? But it's February, but it looks like June.
Yeah.
Because
All
Olivia
thanks to
Colman
Olivia Colman.
has run. Have you heard they've cancelled Brexit? Because Olivia Colman's won an Oscar. All joy in my heart aside. Glenn Close, Lady Gaga, Melissa McCarthy, and I'm gonna do it wrong. I've done it wrong every single time I've had to say a name. Yalitza Aparicio.
Good enough for me.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Was she deserving of that Oscar? Now, I know her performance is definitely Oscar worthy, but in the context of the rest of the field, was she the right choice?
The nomination for Yalitza is the story behind that suggests that she probably should have won it because she's a school teacher who was picked out of nowhere and then does that performance.
Yeah.
Which is but then to a certain extent, that could be because Alfonso Cuarón is such a good director and he said, do this. Because he didn't give them a script or anything. He was like, say these lines like this. And she just did. Which, to a certain extent, is the best and not worst, but the thing that takes it away. I think Olivia Colman is absolutely brilliant in The Favourite.
So do
and
I.
I think she's also absolutely brilliant in absolutely everything she's in. She's one of the most charismatic, watchable actors, even when she's playing horror roles. She's great. I think Melissa McCarthy is slightly harsh done to because of the context of her performances elsewhere. If you watch Life of the Party, which came out the same year as this, it's how is that the same actor? It's unbelievable. And I think it's a terrible shame that Glenn Close hasn't won. But also, the Academy loves these stories, don't they? The Leonardo DiCaprio thing where he hadn't won for ages was that was one of their marketable strategies.
Is Leo going to win?
Glenn
Yeah.
Close not winning 7 Oscars in a row is another one of these. They have to have some sort of drama about their
Sophie from Peep Show
nominations.
beating Glenn Close to a 7th
Exactly,
Oscar.
yeah.
James?
Olivia Colman was my pick. I thought Glenn Close was going to win. I think that would have been deserved. She was great in The Wife. I think Gaga's great. But
I thought Gaga would win.
But Coleman just...
Jeez. But okay.
I think Coleman just does so much more. The way she's very over the top and weird and wacky. But
There's
also
3 or 4 very separate performances in that film
there's
for me
this
as well.
real tragedy underneath all of that I think it's quite subtle almost in a very unsubtle performance otherwise.
The first bit with the rabbits really catches
Yeah.
you off guard because the way she's played the film pretty much up until that point, she's just mad.
Yeah.
She's eccentric. She's off the wall. And then there's that bit with the rabbits, and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it's about 10 times more impactful purely because you just do not expect it from the performance we've had up to that point. And then again, when her health starts leaving towards later in the film, when she becomes very serious and sort of grows up a bit, I think it's genuinely one of the best performances I think I've ever seen in a film. So I'm delighted she won. But I did think Gaga would win purely because it's Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I don't think she was all that good, to be honest. I just don't.
Is this the joke?
No,
We're still
think
waiting.
I don't think
I've
the
got loads of
chemistry-
jokes for this podcast. You said when we get to Glenn Close, you were going to do one.
I know, but you've derailed us slightly.
Oh,
Come on,
hey.
do it. Was it going to be, oh, she came close?
No, it
Right.
wasn't. Maybe it was.
good.
No, it was going to be about. It was just what I said before about her having to wait. I was going to say in like 10 years she'll wrestle a bear like Leonardo DiCaprio did, and it's just not that funny. It's not that funny. I'll hold my hands up.
So best
Anyway,
director.
Lady Gaga. The reason why I don't think it's all that good is because the chemistry between them on stage last night was a billion times more than anything that's in the film.
Interesting.
I don't see the chemistry. Even when they're literally naked on top of each other in the bath, it's like, do you two know each other that well?
Speaks a lot about some of the experiences you've had in life, I think.
Yeah. When people get in the bath with me, make sure I'm.
I've been in the room and Simon's had a bath.
Are you
as
going to
well.
say I've been in the bath with him?
I've been close.
Do you know, that was the
Glenn
angriest,
Close.
That was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
angriest he's ever been at me ever. There's
He
a
was in-
backstory for you.
He was in the bath for an hour.
What? Sorry.
I fell
Sorry.
asleep.
So
We're going to have to really skip through Best Director, but
Yeah.
I'm worth it for the time. You were in the bath for an hour?
We went to a screening
If not
of the
more.
film and I
No, don't
fell
give me any
asleep in the
context.
bath. But he didn't knock on the door or anything. He
I was
just
like,
stood outside.
I was trying to be polite because I was like, I never shared a room with this guy before, and I didn't want to like interrupt him. But then I was like, I really need like
I was-
a wee, and I really need to get showered.
He didn't tell me.
Fell asleep.
Not my fault.
Was it in the morning?
Yeah,
No, it was the afternoon.
it wasn't.
In the bath in the afternoon?
I thought it was before we went to the screening.
Well, I don't know.
Right,
but-
boys.
Then he bought-
Boys, I'm
anyway.
sorry. We're just gonna have to move on
Then
here.
he
We'll
bought me some
talk
donuts.
about this later. Alfonso, our
Yeah.
man Alfonso, won Best Director, and you said there's probably a reason for this because of the performances he got out of everybody, given it wasn't really a scripted film.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go to James, just first of all, because you have raved quite a lot about this film to me. Is he the worthy winner of this?
Absolutely. I think Alfonso Cuarón is incredible. He's an amazing director. Everything he does is great and a great feat of direction. And Roma is one of his best to date.
Is it a typical Oscar-winning direction? Because the one thing that perhaps dissuaded me from the idea that he would win is that it is arguably the best directorial performance we've seen of all the candidates, but in arguably the least sort of Oscar film.
Yeah, I think because it's black and white, it's foreign language, it's Netflix. Like all of that is going against it, and that's something we'll talk about when we get the best picture as well. So, but Cuarón's very well liked, I think, around. He won a few years ago for
The
Gravity.
Academy loves Mexican directors at the minute.
Yeah, 5 out of the last 6.
Senor Spielbergo.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Donald
Which
Trump must be
who
delighted.
run him closest? Do you think?
Yorgos, probably, for me.
So Yorgos who?
Lanthimos.
Oh, fair enough. Test passed.
I just like to use people's first
I
names.
think if anyone was going to upset in this category, it would have been Spike Lee, just as
You think?
a kind of we've ignored you for 30 years.
Have it all.
Here you go.
It would have been a career nod.
It would. But yeah, Cuarón's there.
No chance of Adam McKay for Vice.
Absolutely not.
No, same. I was very surprised he got nominated. It was the direction was the one thing I didn't particularly like about Vice. Although I did like The Big Short weirdly. So I'm not really sure what it was that jumped from one to the other for me.
Vice,
I like The Big Short a little bit, but it bloody loves itself. That
It does
yeah,
love itself.
and Vice doubles down on that.
Yeah.
So
Right, we're
I
gonna
think
do.
Bradley Cooper should have been nominated for that, to be honest.
Bradley Cooper should have been nominated
Should have been nominated for Best Director.
for A Star Is Born.
Above Adam Kay.
above his nomination for Best Actor.
No, he can be both.
Has anybody ever won both?
I don't know.
Has anyone ever been nominated? for
Wells,
both?
Did Orson Welles win for Citizen Kane?
maybe.
Answers on a postcard for that one. Right, Best Picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, I'm just going to go through the nominations, and I would like a word or two, maximum 3, for what you thought about these films. Okay? Black Panther,
Very good.
Pretty good.
Wakanda Forever,
I think-
Black
I think
Klansman.
pretty good is better than very good. All of these are going to be very good because of your 3-word limit.
What was this film?
Black Klansman.
Great, really powerful.
Powerful, yeah.
That ending has
Way
not
over the word limit. Sorry. Carry.
getting played off here.
We'll come back. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Had good songs.
Entertaining fluff.
Not all that. The Favourite.
Just great.
Not my favourite.
Yep. Roma.
Is amazing.
Should have won.
A Star is Born.
He weed himself.
Simon.
I thought it was good.
Vice.
I thought it was okay.
Condescending, smug. Adam McKay can do one.
Green Book.
I don't think he can count.
Green Book.
Not even worth a nomination.
Wow, really?
Not in Best Film. I mean, it is because of the Academy, because they love that sort of thing, but not for me.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Driving Miss Lazy Racial Apologies.
There we go.
Oh, interesting. So why, out of all of those, it's certainly not being the one that either of you spoke particularly highly of, why is that one? Beyond merely just being the Academy.
You look at those lists, that list, and because of the way the votes are, this popular vote nonsense, which I'll take a podcast to explain.
Yeah,
it.
the preferential system.
If there's a divisive film, it drops out immediately because they won't do it.
So what has dropped out?
Black Klansman would have immediately. Roma would have been out straight away. Probably Bohemian Rhapsody as well, I would think. The ones that are the most look the most like how the Oscars have been voted for in the past will always be the ones that are like the top, the semi-finalists, let's call them. And this one fits in with things like Crash and The Blind Side and things that have those sort of messages, even Forrest Gump.
Now, Crash was getting shot on hard in the office this afternoon is a good example of all this, as being just pure Oscar bait. Is that necessarily a terrible quality for a film to have?
I think a film should aspire to be more than just going for awards. And I think there is a difference between films that do that, like, say, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, a film made just to appeal to what the Oscar voters like, and films that maybe fit in with that but have more to them. Green Book, I think, treads the line a bit. And yeah, I think they need to do more.
For all the fact that the Academy think that's like a transgressive, progressive film, it is the safest one out of probably the entire lot.
Why were a lot of people saying Bohemian Rhapsody could take it?
I think I went through the night as well because it won film editing, which often, not so much in recent years, but that always used to be like a bellwether for winning Best Picture. And it's quite a popular film. So again, if they're looking to award a popular film, that was up there, same with Black Panther.
It fits in with the model for voting for things like Theory of Everything, The Danish Girl, anything where there's a lead character who overcomes something massive in terms of hot button topics, let's call them.
Yeah.
The Academy will go for that immediately, basically. So that's probably why it was up there. It's not in any way anything close to the best film.
I was going to say, is there any argument that can be made whatsoever that it is the best picture?
What, Green Book?
Yes. I mean, other than going, here is my Oscar for best picture, is there any argument to say it's the best film out of those?
Not for me. No. I think this is a very weak year.
If you could mentally extrapolate, what argument could someone make if they really tried? Is there even one?
It feels good. And it's fairly entertaining in a really casual sort of, it doesn't tax you, even though it pretends that it's going to. And the Academy will be like, oh, this is very important filmmaking.
It's like my presenting style, this film, isn't it?
I think it's like, it tackles a serious subject in quite a light way. And that means it's very easy for Academy voters to go, well, that's the one that tackles the problem in the way that we can relate to, we can back, we feel good about. Which is why it shouldn't have won.
Almost sounds like you're describing slacktivism there.
Sort of.
The concept of doing a really half-arsed effort at addressing serious issues just to purely make yourself feel better that you've addressed them.
Yeah.
Without ever actually doing it.
I don't think it's a terribly made film. I don't think it's... I know I called it lazy before. I don't think it's all that lazy. It's just... It's not the film that it should have been. And it's not that... if the Academy were rewarding the film for what everybody says they're rewarding it for, other than it being like a feel-good film, it should have been a completely different film, and probably Spike Lee should have made it.
James, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of backlash to Green Book before this, and I think Academy voters will have kind of voted for it because of that almost, in a sense of people are saying, oh, you can't vote for Green Book, it's, it doesn't handle its racial politics very well, and the old white men of the Academy, which is still predominantly their voter base, are going, you can't tell me what to do or what to think, I'm going to vote for Green Book.
Who should have won?
Roma.
Yeah.
Both agree on Roma?
I agree with Roma.
Interesting.
Roma, for me, is the only film out of the field this year, out of the Best Picture field, that I would say is a genuine masterpiece, that I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
The Favourite is pretty close for me as well.
Roma
wins.
I liked The Favourite. I didn't think it was a Best
I
Picture
really
level.
like it. I really like it.
I really liked it.
There's probably only a handful of films from this whole year that I will even talk about in a couple of years' time.
I was going to say, has it been a particularly strong year for you in terms of every category, like performances, the direction, the films? Because there's nothing I'm really looking at on any of these sheets going, do you know what, 5 or 10 years, we're still going to be talking about that film. I mean, I'm still going to be talking about the fact that Olivia Colman won an Oscar, but that's purely because I grew up watching Peep Show.
And that speech was just...
Yeah.
Even if she didn't deserve it, if she'd won and then done that speech, she would deserve it.
Yeah.
Because of the speech.
In terms of films that I think we'll remember, I think for me, Roma, First Man, Mary Poppins Returns, Spider-Verse. Beyond that, not a lot.
I think it's quite a...
Black Klansman.
I had the favourite to that. I had Free Solo to that, but documentaries don't count because people just don't like... And there's a handful of documentaries that have ever existed where people are like, you should go and watch this immediately.
They're looked at very
King of
differently.
Kong.
King of
Kong's excellent. Right. Final award that we're going to dish out. James, the Oscar for James's favourite film this year goes to?
Mary Poppins Returns.
And Simon, the Oscar for Simon's favourite film this year goes to?
Love, Simon, which should have been up for a writing award.
You made that about yourself. Have you heard that?
It's a really great film.
Oh, right, okay.
But Simon loves that film more than he should because it has Simon in the title.
Why?
It is. It's a 4.5 star film. You give it an extra star because it has Simon in the title.
5.5 stars out of 5 because it got Simon in the title.
Well, yeah. Well, on that note, overall,
yours?
my favourite film of the year. I don't actually have one.
Well, come on.
Maybe Isle of Dogs made me feel happier than any other films made me feel, and Into the Spider-Verse made me feel younger than any other films made me feel.
Into the Spider-Verse, I think, is second or third for me.
I'm going to go Into the Spider-Verse.
Infinity War's up there as well.
Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, Infinity War as well. But just,
For me, films are about what they make you feel and how long that feeling lasts.
All right, then definitely Infinity War, but I'm still not over parts of that film. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us on this Oscars roundup. Let us know your thoughts on all the awards, what missed out, what should have won in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But in the meantime, though, thank you so much for watching. This has been Simon. Say goodbye, Simon.
Goodbye, Simon.
Where can they get you on Twitter, Simon?
At Ty Gallagher.
And James?
At James Hunt 182.
And also say bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye. The same way we did the hello. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.